Hi, welcome to today's live stream on overcoming fear, identifying what you're afraid of, pinpointing what that is for you, and going through some steps and breaking that down from being scared of what you are right now, working through that, and having the courage to overcome that fear. And actually asking yourself, what are you actually afraid of? Picking that apart, breaking that down, and understanding logically and emotionally how we can do the thing that has been potentially bugging us and getting in our way as a barrier for so long now. I'm Life Coach Raf. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to the self-help tools and things that I share that help with emotional well-being, mental health, psychology, and just navigating the brain. So today's session is on overcoming fear. I am going to run through the agenda, which is a check-in. I'll go through my usual check-in, which are past, present, and future questions. What is fear? The definition of that, and some acronyms that can help us break some stigma. Why are you afraid? And actually the brain side of scientific stuff that helps us understand and helps you figure out, okay, why is it that I'm actually afraid? What is it trying to do for my body? And we'll look at that. Naming your fear, being a bit playful with it, which can help reduce what that is and how big the fear might be. Fear cycle. So this is when we look at actually some steps to see what pattern of behavior are we caught up in? What's the cycle loop that we need to break from to break free from that fear and overcome it? Exposure therapy. So there's there's six steps which we can look at, similar to the fear cycle. So the fear cycle is one tool. Exposure therapy is another tool, and there's 6 steps in that which we'll look at. Courage and role modeling, which puts us into the last piece, which is the reframing challenge. Ultimately, I'm not sharing this stuff for entertainment. I want you to take tools away that you can apply in your life to become better and improve specific elements of your character, your personality, and who you are. So the reframing challenge is something that you can do to actually apply it in life. And then finally, if you want to deep dive and learn more about this fear and what you can do to overcome fear, there's a book recommendation I've got. I'd love for you, whilst I'm checking in, to share any specific fears that you might have in the comments. And towards the end, I will review the comments and try and address some of those specifically. That's the best way to help, right? To understand specifically what you're afraid of and then addressing that directly rather than talking generically about fear itself. Before that, and if you're doing that in the comments, I'll share my 3 check-in questions. First question is, what have you achieved in the last week, as big or as small as it may be? How are you feeling? And the third question is, what are you looking forward to in the next week? Something that I've achieved in the last week is I have managed to get into a real good space with my home, and especially my kids' rooms. They're organized, they're tidy, and they're functional. And I'm really happy at how their rooms have come together and the state of their rooms. How I'm feeling tired, but I'm actually energized, which is really weird. I'm tired because of a lack of sleep, but that hasn't hit me in terms of sluggishness. I still got a spring in my step. I've still got a smile on my face, and yeah, I'm doing all right. But that's a weird thing, and maybe coffee's helping with that. What am I looking forward to in the next week? A few things. I've got a cinema trip planned. I call it a trip. Got a cinema visit planned, and that with the whole family is something that I'm looking forward to in the next week. Toy Story 5 is out soon, and I'm watching that one of the first days after which it comes out. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Again, if you want to share and just check in with yourself, what have you achieved? How are you feeling? What are you excited or looking forward to? All right, let's get into fear itself. So what is fear? There's a few acronyms that I've come across in my time. Forget everything and run. False evidence appearing real. Face everything and rise. Ultimately, they're acronyms which help me. The most common one I've come across is false evidence appearing real. So fear is something that is in our head, it's a thought, it's a feeling, but actually we're anticipating something negative happening. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. We can evaluate how likely it is to happen, but we're thinking about something in the future. It's not actually happened yet. We're making it up. Let me pose this to you. Why can't you imagine and foresee something really positive happening? Life can change in a moment. Something really bad can happen and it can go really downward. Something amazing and awesome can happen and it can go upward. Why do we always put fear in negative anxiousness? Because fear built up is anxiety or anxiousness. If we're anticipating positive feelings, that's excitement. That's anticipation of, "Oh, I'm looking forward to the thing." So false evidence appearing real is the one that resonates with me the most. But forget everything can run is something that fear can instill. And we'll look at that in terms of sort of why we are afraid in the next piece. And face everything can rise. So when we look at the latter part, fear isn't something that goes away. It's something that we have to go through and face. And actually, it's a call to action. And that face everything and rise, the rise element, is you rise to the challenge. Can you do that? And if not, what are the things that we can help to deal with that logically and emotionally, and together get past that thing that's been blocking you potentially? So why we are afraid goes back to thousands of years ago. Our brains are old. There are two parts of our brain which have not really evolved in modern times. So the amygdala and hypothalamus in our brain see a threat. So if we saw a wild animal, a massive elephant running towards us, our eyes would see it. It would spark hormones in our brain. So the sort of sensory perception, our sight will go into our amygdala, hypothalamus, and it will release chemicals, hormones, adrenaline. It releases adrenaline, and that will manifest itself as like sweating, heart pounding, and sort of sweaty palms, and just that fight, flight, or freeze. And that's the response that you might get. So if an elephant's coming towards us, we might fight it, think to fight it. That could be our biological response. Flight, so run away, or freeze and do nothing. That is life and death, potentially. And our brain still sees modern day things in that same sense. So if you get an email that pops up and says urgent, if you are going for an interview, if you are publicly speaking, just before you go, let's say, for that interview, your brain releases the same adrenaline. You could get your heart pumping, heart palpitations, sweating, and just get caught up in that fight, flight, or freeze. Mindfulness has helped me with that, but that's why we're afraid. The threats I mentioned in modern day, so let's say going for a job interview, publicly speaking, or seeing an email that says urgent, aren't life or death, but the same response is invoked. So if we can work through that feeling, we can then realize actually it's not that serious. That's how we can start to build confidence to know I was scared, I went for that job interview, I was successful, and the fear that I was anxious about actually led to a positive outcome. And understanding why we are doing something that's scary and putting ourselves into that situation, which is expansive, so it helps our life get better, not contractive. So if you do something fearful and it makes your life worse, that's contractive. If you do something fearful, like go to a job interview, you get the job and you're successful, that's expansive. That can build confidence for then you to go into another fearful situation, feeling like, wow, I did that thing, I was scared of that thing, and look what it led to. That was awesome. Now, let me take that same thought process into the next fearful thing, build confidence and build courage. But that's essentially why we're fearful, because we have that fight, flight, or freeze response, and our brain releases adrenaline, which gets our body worked up around sweating and heart pumping and whatever that manifests itself with you. That's the sort of why we get afraid. How we can deal with that is what I want to tackle. So there's a few quotes here that resonate with me. So Franklin D. Roosevelt said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." Mark Twain said, "Courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. I like this one particularly, and I apply this one from Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. If your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. Me putting myself publicly on live streams and YouTube was initially a scary thing, which I worked myself up to, and now it's something I'm comfortable with. But that was, and I'm on that journey of fulfilling some of my dreams by heading those and taking on those fears face on, but working through that to get to the other side of actually the benefits of what I'm trying to practice and get better at. The last one from W. Clement Stone is thinking will not overcome fear, but action will. Often we live inside our heads. You can think and live a scenario in your head, but actually that's not real. And until you voice it, until you act it out, until you actually take action on it, it doesn't exist. It's just a thought, and we can direct our thoughts, which is, if we can do that better and control our thoughts better, we can then shape actually what emotions we are looking for, thinking about that, finding that emotion, and then feeling that emotion, rather than aiming towards some of the negative emotions that you might not want. The iceberg analogy. So, name that fear, is fear is the surface level, right? Above the surface, you see fear, but it could be something else below the surface and beneath you and inside your body that actually you might want to add more context to. So it could be your fear of failure, rejection, judgment, uncertainty, and embarrassment. And if you can name that fear and actually put more context on it, you can do more about it because you have an understanding of actually what is it you're scared of, what's the likeliness of that thing, and how can I handle that fear of failure and minimize maybe your fear of judgment, your fear of uncertainty, by adding as much certainty or controllable factors into your environment and control that you can, and you can look at that. That's one element of naming your fear and understanding, is it fear? Am I scared? Or actually is it something else that I need to work through, and that there's things I can do something about? Another perspective on naming your fear is actually your fear doesn't go away. Name it. If you are scared of publicly speaking, which is one of modern day adults' biggest fears, public speaking, across the Western world. It's literally one of the biggest fears that adults have, is publicly speaking, whether that's talking up in a meeting, whether that's putting out content, whether that's actually just getting up in front of a group of people and saying a few words. That fear may never go away, but what we can do is name that fear, like have that as a part of your character. So literally call it like Freddy the Fear, or Freddy the Fear is telling me don't do the thing because I'm gonna say the wrong thing and completely shut down and not know what to say when I'm actually speaking. Freddy the Fear may always be there, but he might not be correct. You might have Eddie Excitement, who's also saying, actually, this is what you've been wanting to do. You want the people out there to hear what you have to say and clap for you and cheer for you and really take on your message. The only way you can do that is to publicly speak. Both of those people, both those parts of our brain are speaking, but if Freddy the Fear speaks louder, or you listen to that part of you more, that can stop you from taking action. And just having that play on actually naming your fear. The fear is still there, but it doesn't have to be the voice you listen to. You can listen to other parts of positive things that are going to help you get through that fear. The only way is through. If I want to build my YouTube channel, my following, my community, if I want more people like you to just connect with and help with any sort of coaching related stuff, I have to put the work in, put the action in to get that out there. And that means heading into the fear, heading into the uncertainty, the unknown, to get the results, get the rewards. Most people want the rewards and the outcomes, but not many people are willing to put the work in to get it. Are you? Are you one of those few people who are willing to be scared and do it anyway? So we've got the next piece, which is the fear cycle. So the first thing in the fear cycle you have is a trigger, potential trigger. Identifying that is important to know what's the fear, what you're actually scared of. Something happens that activates a perceived threat. It could be a physical thing. Many people are scared of spiders. It could be, like I said, one of the aforementioned uh, activities, publicly speaking, job interview. It could be an infinite amount of things. You could be scared of heights. The fear response is that fight. Are you getting ready to tackle the thing, and are you freezing? Are you just not doing anything, or are you running away? So your mind reacts with fearful thoughts, and we'll look at step 3 next. So that's the response. Step number 3 is you have negative feelings. So that negative feeling creates uncomfortable emotions like anxiety, worry, and doubt, and that builds up as you experience that more and more, and you get anxious that if you're going to go into, I don't know, a shed, you might encounter more spiders, and you're already anxious of the whole shed because that's where spiders might exist more, if that's what you're afraid of, for example. And then you go into step number 4, so self-destructive behavior. So you act in ways that reinforce the fear and create more problems. So now you're just saying to somebody else, go to the shed and get that for me because I don't want to even go near it, type of thing. Or you might not put yourself in an opportunity to get that promotion, that next job, because you're scared of the job interview. Taking that pressure off yourself. And one thing that has helped me shape that for people that I've worked with is doing mock interviews or going for a job that you're not really pressured in. You're already in a comfortable position, but actually you're just going for something just to get that experience. If you get the job, great. If you don't, you're still comfortable where you are, and that can give you exposure. And that takes us into the next piece, which is exposure therapy. Coming back to the fear cycle. So yes, the fear is there, but we believe it. You don't have to believe it, because think about it on a probability scale. How likely is the thing you're thinking of going to happen? Yes, it could happen, but is it likely? Put a percentage marker on it. That can help you realize, actually, yes, I could trip over, fall, and crack my neck if I run fast, but actually, is that very likely? And if the probability is low, actually, you still might want to do the thing, and that's almost like a risk assessment that you want to do. What you can also do, which you'll see there, is within the fear cycle, break the cycle. So challenge the thoughts, and like I said, put a scale on it, put a percentage on how likely it is to happen. If that falls under 49%, which sounds like a lot, then you should do the thing. A decision isn't made at 100%. When something's 50-50 or 50% yes, 50% no, if it tips over to 51%, the 51% yes to the 49% no, the 51%, the yes outweighs the rest of the 49 reasons not to do it. So go with that, even if your percentage is 51%. So flipping that, if you are 49%, if you are less than half scared of doing the thing, do it. Choose a different response and create a new outcome. It's easy to look at this and say, all right, just break the cycle. But my principle on this is starting small. So if you want to break that fear cycle, when you have that trigger, that response should be the smallest positive response you can have. If you are scared of heights, then rather than going up in a plane, for example, take 1 step, and then take 2 steps, and then maybe go up a ladder, and then try building up a little bit. And if that's scary, do it, progress over time, get support, and eventually, if you keep building on that, you will eventually get to as high as you wish. If you're scared of spiders, try something, that small bit of, all right, can I watch a spider on a screen? Can I then be in the same room as a spider in a tank, or go to somewhere where they are in a reptile place? Can I then handle a small spider and just go near it and try and trap one in a cup? And that takes time, but building up then to actually realizing it's not that scary. I'm capable. I can do it. That's what you want to believe. It's like, I can do this. That change of thought of, I'm scared of this, I can't act on anything that goes towards the fear, to, I can do this, I got this. That shift in mindset really, once it's clicked, can get you through any fear. And what's on the other side of that fear is growth. You want to get through the fear to grow as a person. And if you can do that, then you can reap the benefits of what's on the other side of that, which is personal growth. And that takes me into sort of another model, which is the 6 steps to overcoming fear. Identify the fear. We talked about naming it. So just pick one at a time. Don't try and tackle the world in a day. Pick one fear and actually let's address that. Set a goal. What do you want to do? What is it you're trying to achieve? And then visualize the benefits of what achieving that goal is for you. Build a ladder. So a list of actions. And like I said, small actions, but step by step, how can you do one little thing to get you closer to getting past that? Step number 4, facing your fears. Start with the least scary action. I'll add something in there, which is if you can get somebody to help you with the least scary action, and have somebody who might be scared as well to come along with you and do it together, somebody who's not scared at all and can talk you through and walk through and help you overcome that fear, then one of those 2 things, and getting somebody to help you face your fears is really beneficial. Step number 5, repeat it. Just do more and more of it, and don't try and, like I said, tackle it all in a day, a little bit at a time, step by step. And if you get stuck on one step, if you find yourself having a sticking point, just stay there for a bit until you're kind of a bit more warmed up, and then push through. If you need to take, what there's a saying, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, then that's okay too. But just keep repeating it. Practice makes better, and just keep practicing. And I'm confident that you can overcome anything. You can do anything. We just can't do everything. So pick your things. Final 6th step on overcoming fear: give yourself credit. Celebrate that success, no matter how small it is. That is personal development. That is growth. That is progress. And we need to shout out more about it. Sometimes we feel like we need to have the biggest achievements to then show the world, actually, I've done the thing. But sometimes we lose that within ourselves on the journey to then publicly sharing that success. Sometimes we do things daily and we knock ourselves down and we can beat ourselves up about it, which, even if you've made progress and growth that day, if at the end of the day you're saying, oh, I didn't do as much as I could, or I only did 99%, I didn't quite get that last bit out, beating yourself up at the end of the day makes you feel like you've had a bit of a loss, rather than if you did 1%, rather than being knocking yourself and not doing the rest of it, actually you did a little bit. Celebrate that. And that's important to then give you some wind and sail and momentum in your next day to then carry on and do the thing again, and keep doing it till you sort of, that fear, that big thing that was there, is shrunk down so that it's still there, but it's not as big. You don't have to listen to it. It doesn't overbear within your decision making in that part of your life. I mentioned in step 4, facing your fears, and this is where courage is a great person or reference. So if I'm asking you, what are you afraid of? Who has courage with the thing that you're afraid of? Is there somebody in your life that is completely not scared, or can do the thing that you're scared of with absolute confidence and self-belief? Speak to them, get mentored from them, find out how they're able to do that, learn from them, spend time with them, talk to them about the thing. And I feel like we miss this a lot. Like, we have so many people around us that can help us. Just ask people for help. That is my biggest thing. Just ask people for help, and that can get you so much further in such a short space of time, by modeling and replicating people who are courageous and people who are good at the thing you're trying to get better at. And in this case, find someone who's courageous at the thing you're scared of, model that, learn from them, get mentored from them, whatever it's, just spend time with them. And I'm confident that will rub off on you and will help you get through that fear much quicker. I have one final piece, which is a reframing challenge. So when you encounter, when you are triggered, and when you feel scared of something, reframe that, name it something else, call it excitement. Remember the benefits and the reasons why you're doing the thing. If it's aligned to where you want to go, if it's going to help you grow and make your world better by doing that fearful thing, remember the benefits, so that helps you push through when you don't feel like it. But also reframing that as an exciting opportunity. Going back to public speaking, if the end of that speech is met with opportunities, then that's exciting. And then doing the actions and actually doing the speech, you want to get to the end of the speech where everyone's clapping, fine. But whilst you're doing the speech and before you're doing the speech, being excited about the journey and delivering it and the outcome can help reframe that to not be so afraid, but to be excited to deliver that, get the appraisals and get the rewards and get all the good stuff that comes at the end of it. So reframing that as excitement next time you encounter the fear, and being excited that you're on that personal growth journey, to know that I'm doing it, I can do this, I got this. And that will help build your self-esteem and realize, actually, yeah, it's maybe not as scary as I've always thought it was. And again, I'm interested to hear if you've been able to do any more than you might have in the past about any of your fears. If you're struggling with any specific fears, then go to iamlifecoachrav.com/discovery, book some time with me, and we can talk through that specifically. But otherwise, I hope this video has helped in terms of giving you some context of what fear is, why you might be afraid, and how that is processed through our brains and bodies. Some frameworks and tools that can help you work through that. And ultimately, I hope you're able to not let that overbear and get sort of become a big part of stopping you living your dreams, growing personally, and sort of moving forward. Some of the principles and things that I've mentioned are from this book, which is called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Susan Jeffers. And that the fear cycle is from that. So feel it, take a small action, learn from that, build confidence, and repeat. And that can help us just go through some steps, potentially break a fear negative cycle, but also take small steps to positively spiral ourselves into a place where we're not scared of the thing anymore. In terms of overcoming your fears, let me just have a look at any comments, and I'd love to see, I asked towards the start, if anyone's scared of anything specifically, and if so, I can potentially talk about that in the end of the video. No, nothing around specific fears. Again, if you've got anything specifically that you're scared of, then I hope this video has helped give you some framework around it. You can reach out to me one-to-one if that's going to help you talk through it individually. Otherwise, as always, I'm Life Coach Rav. Subscribe. I share stuff like this that can help you with yourself. But for another day, peace out. Stay blessed.